Lloyd and JD. I am Lloyd.
I'm JD.
This is the best fucking podcast in the world. So we were just talking about cyborgs. I still want to talk about cyborgs.
I know. I was just going to say that, we should probably talk about this desire of yours to become a cyborg.
I don't think it's a desire to become a cyborg because robots freak me the fuck out. Like, what if it took me over? Well, I guess as long as my brain was still me, then it's still me. I just want to live longer than like what humans live.
Right. And I think, our bodies are getting pushed to the extreme, in the sense that...
I want to push it further than that.
Yeah. But I mean, that's what it is.
It's not my body I want to push. It's my mind. Because it's the mind that deteriorates over time, in my opinion. And that's what we can't fight. Like, the body's fine, whatever. Robot arm, yeah. Hopefully we get there,
Your body does, though. Your body, starts breaking down, and that's gravity.
But that's not the issue right now, because that science is... We got that, man. They grow organs all the fucking time. If I was rich, I could have, 9 livers right now just waiting for me. Like, sweet. Like, they just take a cell, they grow that fucker in, a...
Right, but your overall body, like your skeleton and your musculature, you kind of compress over time because of gravity and...
Yeah, and, fine, it might be a little short, but...
and weaker
with
and
robotics
all sorts of things.
And stuff like that, in the future, I feel like they'll have that handled. I honestly feel that.
Yeah, and I'm assuming that's the cyborg part you want. You want your mind...
The mind's all that matters, but the mind, we can't fight dementia. We can't fight dementia. We have no idea why we get dementia. Dementia is horrible and it's the worst thing in the world. There's other diseases of the brain that do similar fucking things. What the fuck? We don't have any handle on that at all. That's where we need to
Well, the truth is that anything that is organic, which we are, breaks down over time.
Yeah, right? And you've heard that new guy right now. He can download a brain into software. It's a new company that can take your essence, and they put you into a chip. And it hasn't been tried yet, but you have to die to do it. So, apparently it's painful as fuck. So,
if you're dead,
I think it starts with
painful.
injecting something into your veins that is going to help in the process. I can't remember. I did read a little bit about it. It was a bit ago. My mind was blown a little bit that someone had even fucking gone there, but of course we had to. So there is a guy signed up to do it. And he's going to be, I think he's part of the company or something, but he wants to get clearance to basically download his mind into this computer. So if he was successful, they could put that chip then into, a device. And I don't know how the fuck.
What if somebody installs Minecraft on the computer?
That'd be fucking hilarious. It's like someone just tapes over it with it's
like those memories, like those old VHS tapes. It's like, look, here's my graduation. And then it's like... They put it in, you watch 2 minutes, and then there's an episode of Three's Company. You're like, what the hell?
So obviously that would be that's the funny part of it. But I don't know if it... Obviously, I'm using words I know how to fucking describe. But obviously, he's downloaded onto some funky ass shit because apparently he just downloaded a personality. I don't, To me, it made no fucking sense at all. I kind of want him to give it a go. I'm not being mean. If he's willing to give it a go, I'm curious.
Yeah.
And I think that's what it stems down to. But, in today's society, you can't do anything that will hurt you, right? So it's going to take a long time for him to get clearance to kill himself.
Yeah. Or figure out a way to do it without killing yourself would be a positive.
But how think about that, though. Think about that logically. You are leaving yourself. He's downloading himself. That's why you're dying.
Yeah.
He's sucking it. It's crazy.
Yeah. Seems very sci-fi.
You can't both be alive. That's nuts. You can't be there and here. He's taking you. Because this isn't you. This is meat.
Yeah.
Big old meat engine. We're one of the best fucking engines ever. We're perfect. It's amazing that we are what we are. But we are something else because we feel love and we feel, those feelings inside. That's not this meat bag. That's the mind. That's this amazing energy that is contained up here in the brain that, as much as we've come in science, I still feel like we know little about.
Right.
And only 10% of it is harnessed. That's mind-blowing alone. How much we achieve having 10% of our brain. What the fuck? Just an extra 10% and we would be some crazy ass shit. moving shit with our minds.
Would we get oval heads like they do in, Star Trek, the bigger dome?
Well, no, but I don't think we would need a bigger dome because we're only using 10% of this massive brain that we already have, which is insane. Yeah. So we're capable of imaginable things, like in anything, in my opinion, is capable.
Hey, you ever heard of Stoffle the Honey Badger? No. You've got to watch this. Stoffle the Honey Badger. I watched this video. I watched it a couple times. I didn't know much about honey badgers, but there's
they can take like venom and shit. They just like go to sleep for a little bit. Like they're quite resilient.
They're tough as nails, but they're also like highly intelligent. And for as small as their head looks, they actually have a very, very large brain. And anyways, Stoffel is like this honey badger that lives on like an animal preserve, and it constantly escapes. Because he figures out stuff. They were double bolting a gate and then wrapping it with wires so you couldn't slide it and lock it. And he'd just like, okay, click, 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 and he'd be out. So they built like Stoffel Alcatraz. And, it had trees in there. So he'd like use the trees and then he'd prop them up and he'd get out. So they took all the trees out of the enclosure. So he dug up all the rocks and he'd pile them up and he'd escape. And then they took out all the rocks in the enclosure. So he made mud balls and put them in. And then one time a gardener left a rake in there. So he used that to get out. And I mean, it's just like every time they do something like, or he burrowed out or whatever he would do, it's like a game to this honey badger. It's like, yeah, you can keep me in here, but I'm getting out, fucker. And, it's like, he'll do it. And it's funny because you always see the zookeeper like, Stoffel will come back because they catch him and bring him back. But it's just a big game. And it just goes to show you, like, some animals that you don't think are necessarily intelligent are highly intelligent.
Well, yeah, and us beings,
they just don't have an opposable thumb.
Like us, we are crazily intelligent. And think about how much potential is being wasted when you see like these teenagers that don't know this, like that are just dumbfounded by like whether the moon revolves around the sun or the earth. Like, and it's such wasted potential because we're so incredible. The way our bodies work, the way that our mind works, the things that we're capable of doing, the things that other people have been capable of doing and that people are still doing today exceeds what we ever thought was possible of human beings.
Yeah.
And every day we do something new and amazing that just exceeds anyone's possibilities, and something that we thought was impossible today will be possible tomorrow. And that is insane. But then we have like all this wasted potential.
Yeah, we're like, we got some low-hanging fruit in the world.
And it's so sad. And it's sad. I even feel wasted sometimes, like going to work as a mason and like I just feel like a fucking slave. And I feel like wasted potential because we're such beautiful creatures and we're so amazing at so many different things and we have so many nice things about us. It's sad that we constantly look at the negatives in our societies, like, the murder and the rape and the awful things that our societies are capable of. But we are capable of such amazing things when we don't focus on that. And a lot of the bad is because of the way our society's set up and bad attacking bad. Like these kids, their parents are bad and their kids bad and so on and so forth, unless they break the chain.
Yeah.
But a lot of it comes from, mental disorders and
absolutely.
There's a whole array of different, but there's so much good in the world, and we are such a, amazing being, and we're capable of so much more than what we even think that we're capable of now. Being that there's so much to unlock within the brain, within the human brain, and we're learning every day new things about the spirit and, energy and how like we're connected to the earth in certain ways, and we need to, and I think society's waking up a little bit in the sense of like we do need to take care of ourselves and we do need to take care of the world, and a lot of people don't realize that we're always saying that like we have cancer and like we're getting cancer from everything now, like water bottles give you cancer, everything gives you fucking cancer, right? Like we have a lot of cancer in our genes, and I think a lot of it comes from mistakes we've made in the past, and it gets carried down in genetics. Like we've made a lot of fucking stupid decisions. Like there was times in the fucking 60s where like electrotherapy was at home. Like it was good to electrocute your brain. It feels good. There was time where borax was used for fucking everything. They put borax in milk for like years. Like that's not healthy, man. Like, yeah. And we were giving that to our fucking toddlers. Like there's a lot of mistakes that we have made, and we'll probably make many more. But we're learning slowly that we just need to take care of ourselves, and we just need to be careful. And like we caught onto vaping quickly. Like cigarettes went fucking tens of years. Like it went forever before we went through a whole phase where like it's super healthy. Like everyone was doing it. Let's advertise it.
Well, if you remember some of the episodes where we talked about vaping, like the amount of hate,
right? And now we find out a year later or so that it's causing these diseases in Europe, where these kids' lungs are like fucking rotting out or like some shit. I haven't really looked.
They're having a lot of it in the States. I think they had their first case in Canada. I mean, they're not able to put their finger on exactly what's causing all this, but all it simply came down to is the fact that, as we discussed like years ago now, is that when you inhale something that you're not supposed to, that over time it's going to eventually do something that you probably don't want it to do, and that's the end of it.
But we're catching on to things quicker, and I feel like we're we always knew that it's not going to be healthy. So I think as a people we're getting better.
Yeah,
and I've seen a general consensus around the world that you just need to be better to the world and better towards animals But, I'm not jumping on the vegan fucking train. But I do believe in if you are going to eat meat, don't buy from these.
Yeah.
I know it's expensive, but, eventually, hopefully we can get to a place to where maybe like we don't eat a lot. I don't eat a lot of meat. Like I'll get like 2 chickens worth that we'll eat for a week. Like if I could sustain that locally, I will. But, I don't think we need to be vegans for there to be such like us cutting down on these places where they're abusing animals. Like the difference between eating meat and abusing an animal.
See, the thing is that, I mean, if you want to eat vegan, that's fine. If you just want to eat veg,
but I don't.
And you're doing that, but neither do I necessarily. And I mean, I did eat vegetarian for a long time when I was fighting, because it was it was just a different way to kind of approach it. But I think what people fail to understand, when you have like massive cities like here, you have to have like massive farming operations to do these kind of things. I mean, unless we all grow our gardens in our backyard
and hunt a little bit.
Yeah. That's kind of how you will be sustainable that way, especially as a vegan. Because the thing is, I think vegans, when they come from a moral standpoint, what they fail to realize is when you have massive farming operations like that, if you're growing stuff, you've got to kill animals. You've got to kill every like mouse, rodent, vole. You got to keep birds off there. I mean, if you go to a winery, you watch they shoot air cannons in the air to keep birds away.
And the saddest thing about all that is we don't eat any of it.
Yeah. So those all get killed.
And wasted.
Yeah. And I mean, you're using, in a lot of cases, insecticides, pesticides, all these kind of things. It's not necessary, and it does damage to the ecosystem around, whether it's insects. So, I mean, I understand that you don't want to hurt animals and kill animals, and that's your reason for doing it. And I think that's admirable. But I think that if you don't see the bigger picture, you're being completely ignorant. And, if we all switched to vegetarian, we'd probably actually do a lot of damage.
Yeah, and I just believe in a balanced diet.
There's got to be a balance, yes.
And I'm not an over meat eater and I'm not over vegetable eater, but we eat a balance of both. And we try to stay away from certain grains just for certain reasons. We have a different kind of balanced diet. But we still balance it. We don't and I just feel like as long as they're treated badly, and I think that's the biggest issue for me, is there's no need to treat a fucking animal like a piece of shit. There's no need to, hit them and beat them and keep them in the small containers. Like there can be better ethics, and there's other places that do have better ethics and are very like see-through. Like they let people come into their farms, and their farms are like local.
And then you have people that go like this incident that happened on the Hutterite Reserve south of Calgary, where a bunch of activists came in and they sat down in the chicken coop and they wanted,
which is fucked up, really, because those chickens are usually fucking looked after pretty good. Like,
well, they were free range chickens. So they can come and go as they please. Like, I mean, if they're all...
And Hutterite chickens are the bomb. I don't know if you ever eat a Hutterite chicken, but it tastes healthy.
Yeah. Like, well, they're all free range. They go and, and the sad thing is they gave them a bunch of chickens so they could go put them in a shelter, which I think was a bad idea because that just encourages people that they're going to get something. But not only that, apparently they had to destroy some of those chickens because coming in that much... it's think about what you're doing before you do it. Is kind of what I'm getting at.
That's the silly activism. Everyone should just be like.
Yeah, the best way you can do it is
don't buy it.
Don't buy it. Exactly.
Don't buy it, because the people that buy it, then the less they'll sell, and But Heterites don't sell that much to where you got to go there and like they're not big corporation. They're just farmers.
Yeah.
Those are just farm animals.
It's not like Lilydale where they're
chicken is a farm animal. That's what it is. Yeah. It's designed to be a farm animal. It's genetically bred to be a farm animal.
And they're not the cleanest animal in the world. I have a friend that has chickens, and she'll tell you like they are not clean and they are stupid.
Yeah, they'll pick your leg all day for the hair.
Yeah,
but they're delicious.
Yeah, they're tasty.
But yeah, I prefer a balanced diet. But I still think that we could have better ethics with the way we should treat our farms like Heterites treat their farms. Like, this is our farm. These are our animals. We treat them like our animals. We love them. We feed them. We then eat them.
Yeah, that's
part of life.
It is. You have to eat something, right? And I mean, plants grow. They have a life.
It's like you see those like stories about animals. Like a lion was like with the gazelle, and like it's so weird that they're seeing them so close. And I guess it's the same thing. Like, if he's hungry, he'll
eat it.
He'll eat it. But he's not a savage beast all day, every day. Maybe he's not fucking hungry. Maybe he ate fucking 2 hours ago. You know what I mean? It doesn't mean that he can't sit next to a fucking gazelle without someone taking a picture and it being a meme now on Facebook about the wonders of the animal kingdom.
Yeah.
If they're hungry, they eat. If they're not, they don't overeat. They're not human.
No.
They're not like, I just had a gazelle. Oh, there's another gazelle. Oh, I guess. Like,
if we don't eat it now, it'll just go to waste.
Exactly. Like and people put that, and I think that's the issue. People put such a human response to animals. They put such a human perspective on the way animals think when it's a fucking animal, man. Like, if it's hungry, it'll hunt. It doesn't have to kill every fucking gazelle. You know what I mean? It doesn't have to kill every fucking...
But you know what? People have it too. I mean, we just have it easy. If you take people and you put them out in the wilderness and you leave them there, guess what? If there's food to forage and you're a meatitarian and all you eat is meat, guess what? You're going to eat whatever you can. You're going to eat berries, even if you hate berries. You'll do what it takes to survive. Same with a vegan. At a certain point, they're going to be like, you know what? Sorry, mountain goat, I'm going to eat you because it's...
Well, in the reality, like before we, became in the cities and had grocery stores, like most, when you live in tribes and whatnot, most of our protein would have came from bugs and stuff, and a lot more easier to source, grubs and things like this, a lot more easier
and
to
abundant.
Find, and abundant, like ants, termites, things like this. Like, they can get a bunch of them at one time and throw them in a soup or fry them up. So that was like your main source. And
ant soup.
You'd go out on a hunt and maybe catch a boar and feed a couple families, or catch a monkey or wherever you live.
Yeah.
So the meat was like a luxury, but the protein was usually coming from like nuts and bugs.
Yeah. It was a more balanced diet.
Yeah.
There you go. So that's all we got time for this week.
Stay balanced, Calgary.
There you go.
I'm Lloyd.
I'm JD.
Peace.
See ya.
That made me hungry talking about that one.